Hello, welcome back to another episode of Loki Chaotic. I'm your host, Zoe Lilu, and I'm having a bit of an emotional day. So I thought, what is there to do that's better than to talk to my chaos family about it? I know that some of you know that I was in an abusive relationship. A lot of you probably don't know. And I've made an episode about this before, and I will probably talk about this many more times in the future because it is such a big part of just a big thing that shaped me into the person that I am today. It caused me an immense amount of trauma that I still have not fully healed from. I don't know if I ever will, but it also robbed me of so many years, especially of my years between the ages of 18 and 23, I want to say. And I know that there are a lot of people out there who are finding themselves in the same situation as I am right now or as I used to be. And I want this episode to offer a glimpse into what I went through, so maybe it can help you make a decision that is good for you and your future, because I know how hard that is. I feel like at the time, all I would have wanted was for somebody to talk to that understands what I'm feeling, because a lot of people haven't gone through abusive relationships, which is a good thing, but that also means that a lot of people don't understand what you're necessarily going through. They don't understand why this person that you're with that is treating you so horribly is somebody that you constantly go back to and you seemingly have such a hard time detaching yourself from. So that's what I try to do when I talk about this stuff, is just spread awareness and help people understand better what happens in the brains of abuse victims. And instead of going into the story, because that's what I did in the last episode. I think the episode is called How My Ex Gave Me Irreversible Brain Damage. I literally just trauma dumped for like an hour straight. And I am gonna do a little bit of trauma dumping today also. But instead of going into like the whole story between my ex and I want to talk more about I want to talk more about what went on inside of me. Like, I want to talk less about what happened between him and I, and more about like taking myself back into those moments, try to talk about what went on inside of me, why I did what I did, why did I stay, why did I go back to him so many times, what was I feeling, because that's how like heavy my heart is today, and that's what I feel like talking about. And my podcast has honestly low-key turned into my digital diary, and I love that I can do that and offer some of you out there comfort at the same time. I mean, whenever you guys message me, it literally warms my heart so much, and it makes me feel so grateful because it makes me feel so seen. Like, just as much as I see y'all, it makes me feel so loved to be seen by you guys. And I love that I can give so many of you guys comfort, and that we can give each other so much comfort. This is honestly, I love my podcast so much because of you guys. Um so yeah, I'm not making this episode for pity, but for people to listen, and people that for people to listen that might recognize themselves and hopefully can leave earlier than I did, or use this episode as a tool to speed up the healing process. I mean, long story short, if you want to hear the story in detail, just listen to the episode I released a few weeks ago, or a few months ago at this point. But long story short, what happened was that I was 18 and I fell in love with a boy who very early on started abusing me. I think we had our first fight like 2 weeks before we even started dating, like 2 weeks like into knowing each other, like when we were still just friends and getting to know each other. And I think, as many abusive relationships, it just like went from 0 to 100 very fast. It was very intense very quickly. We started living together very quickly, And the emotional abuse started like from day one of the relationship. The physical abuse started a little later. It started like, I want to say 2 months in, like when we started living together. And aside from I think it's easier for me to recite the physical abuse because I remember it so clearly. Like, I remember the first time he punched me in the face. I remember when he threatened to put out a cigarette on my eyeball. I remember when he choked me to a point where I fainted because I couldn't breathe. I remember when he slapped me so hard I thought I like lost my hearing. I remember when like we would throw things at each other like plates and glasses, and I remember when he smashed my phone to bits and pieces. I remember when he would cry in my arms after doing all of that to me because he felt so bad, and then me consoling him. I'm laughing because, well, I don't know. I honestly don't know why I'm laughing because it's not funny, but it's just like it's so ridiculous. I think I'm laughing because I'm kind of judging myself. Um, I remember like us having altercations, not just behind closed doors, but also like in public spaces, in front of his friends. Like, the abuse was everywhere. And there were like, there is so many things that happened because we were involved for such a long time. The physical abuse definitely stopped when we stopped living together. And from then on, it was, in quotation marks, just hardcore emotional abuse, which that's what I wanted to say is hard for me to recite examples because that's like all the emotional abuse consists mainly of being made to feel like you're crazy. So that's why it's so hard to recite so much of it, because these abusers literally get you to a point where you think you're insane, where you doubt yourself, where you don't believe anything that comes out of like your mouth. So it's really hard for me to give specific examples, but it was always a mix of like making fun of me in ways that weren't jokes. It was literal digs and constant comments about how I am and how I talk, and he was very, very focused on like making me feel like shit because I'm white. He's a person of color, and he always made that such a topic of conversation. And he was always just so like condescending in every way, shape, or form when it came to just who I was as a person. I remember getting into the relationship and being so confident. I was 18 years old. I just got my first job ever, living in London, and I was like just really confident. And then this relationship, he was so condescending and such a bully to me at all times that it really shattered my self-worth and my confidence, and I completely lost sight of who I was and what I believed in and who I wanted to be. And I eventually got to a point where I just stopped trusting my own voice because he's like the ultimate gaslighter. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. And I remember that brought me to a point where I was so desperate for his love, because this is what happens, right? You get together with an abuser. They give you the whole treatment. They make you feel like you're special and you're the one and you're falling in love so fast. And then they take all of that away and continue to only give you breadcrumbs, which makes you crave that whole loaf that they gave you in the beginning. So you start getting into this cycle of like completely disrespecting yourself and like making yourself their little bitch in hopes that you will get that whole loaf instead of just those little breadcrumbs. And you literally, at least in my case, because I also, even though I say I was confident as hell, I clearly didn't have self-worth to be able to recognize that I need to leave. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to talk like I was a self-loving individual, because I clearly wasn't. Like, I'm convinced of the fact that if you love yourself and you respect yourself, you don't stay in situations like that. Like, that math doesn't add up, right? So it got to a point where I was so desperate for his love and his attention and his validation that I do absolutely everything to keep him. Like, gift him things, money, get him things that I knew he loved. Like, I knew he loved Eminem, and I knew he loved WWE or whatever, some sort of fighting UFC shit, whatever it was. So I would try to like do things for him that had to do with things that I knew he was obsessed with. And I knew that this would like work to a certain extent, because I knew he was a greedy bitch. Like, I knew that he would take me up on those offers and at least pretend to be nice to me just for a little bit, so he could get that thing that I'm offering him. And even that like transactional fake niceness was enough for me, for my desperate, hungry heart. I like, deep down, I fucking knew that he was only being nice to me because he wanted what I was offering him. But I was like, if that's what I can get, then I'll take it, because that's how desperate I was for his love and for his approval and his attention. And I think even to this day, I mean, after I released that episode a few months ago, he reached out to me, and he's still such a gaslighter, which I think that's just going to be the case for the rest of his life, is that he's going to gaslight the fucking living shit out of me. But that's what I found so shocking, is that even after all of this time, it's been so long since we've been together, since we had our peak abuse interactions. It's been so long. You'd think somebody would get to a point where they've like reflected and grown and understood what they did was bad and whatever, but that's not the case for him. He like reached out to me, and he got pissed over the fact that I called him my ex, because he is my ex. He just loves to argue semantics, because at the beginning he never wanted to put a label on the relationship. So officially it was a situationship, but everything we were doing was giving relationship. We were saying I love you to each other. We were living together. You know what I'm saying? It's like, that was no situationship, but he loved to play power games with me. And I just found it so funny that I come out with this whole episode talking about my trauma and my experience as an 18-year-old, and then all he cares about is semantics. It was so ridiculous that until this day, he's gaslighting me into thinking that none of what we went through ever mattered. Sometimes I'm like, did he just forget everything? Like, the shit that we went through, the emotions we felt, the highs and the lows, it was so intense and so insane. I don't know how he can deny such a reality. And I understand that truth can be subjective, but this adventure that we were on was so intense and so long. This wasn't just like a night out where you are running into your crush and you think they have a crush on you too, and then you get disappointed in finding out that they don't actually have a crush on you. It wasn't something like that. It wasn't something surface level. It was incredibly deep, and I'm getting low-key defensive because it pisses me off. It pisses me off that he denies to himself and to his direct environment and to me everything that we went through. It drives me absolutely insane because he gaslit me throughout our entire relationship. He gaslit me so much that is one of my biggest triggers. Like, if people try to tell me that I'm lying when I'm not lying, when people try to gaslight me, it's such a trigger for me. So whenever I'm having a conversation where I'm like scared that it's gonna frame me in a way that makes me seem untruthful, I like literally get so defensive and so emotional because that's what my ex used to always do. And to this day, he still does that. He always denies me of my reality. Always has and always will. So whenever I get in a situation like that, I get really, really emotional. That's literally one of my biggest triggers, is being gaslit, feeling like someone's denying my reality. I think that's a better way to put it. It's like, it's just that feeling when you are speaking your truth and you are sharing your opinion and your experience and your perception and perspective, and then someone's denying that. It's such a big trigger for me. I hate that feeling so much. And I really want to work on being more in control of that feeling, because that's not like a fun trigger to have, because you get put in those situations all the time. You get confronted with conversations where people don't agree with each other and have like discussions or arguments all the time. And it doesn't help that I immediately fall into this position of defense because I think that I need to prove that I'm right just because of my trauma with my ex. Like, it's actually kind of stupid. You know what I mean? Because all of these situations nowadays, when people just have a disagreement or a discussion, that has nothing to do with me. Like, why am I taking that personal? Just because my ex traumatized the living shit out of me, and now I think everything is like a personal attack. It's so crazy. When I really think about all of this, like, shit that he did and how deep it still sits in me today, it actually makes me sick. It actually makes me sick. And I think people also always ask if there was like ever a turning point, but there was never like a turning point. It was so obvious to me from the beginning that it was an abusive situation from the get-go. Like, I remember when we had our first like argument, like 3 weeks into knowing each other, and I remember having this thought process where I was like, actually, it's giving toxic. It's giving we're not compatible. The smart thing to do would be to just break it off and not even let it get anywhere. I remember thinking that. But I remember also just not wanting to do that. And I don't know where that action came from. I don't know if it's because I thought I deserved it, because I was young and dumb, or if I even wanted it. Was it some messed up part of my subconscious that wanted to feel this pain, that wanted to be a victim? I have no idea. I have no fucking idea. And there was never even either a moment that drove me to cutting it off forever. Sometimes people are in abusive relationships where like this, where it's really fucked up, and then it's really, really fucked up, and then they're like, okay, this is it, I'm leaving. I never had that. Never. And I don't know if I hadn't like gone back home to Berlin and I would have like stayed in London forever. I don't know if I would have stayed with him forever. I don't know if I would have been able to turn that corner. Because yes, even though I went back to Berlin, like, our situation lasted for a very, very long time. Like, I didn't let go of this man for so many years. That's how the situation came to an end, right? Because it just kind of fizzled out. Like, the more time we spent apart, the more the excitement just kind of left. And the love just kind of disappeared. Like, those rose-colored glasses just disappeared. It was like every time I would go back and go back and go back, the shittiness and the shittiness of the toxicness between us was just taking over the time we were spending together. There was no passion there anymore. And I think that's what made it so addictive in the first year, is that there was so much passion. And that just kind of fizzled out. I mean, they do say that. They say that you have, like, abusive victims go back to their abusers, like, so many fucking times. Because it really takes that many times until it, like, clicks. And I wish that it didn't have to take all of those times to click. And for me to, like... I wasted so much time on this person. So much time. And I know... I have understanding for myself. I just wish that I would have just done what's logically and rationally correct, because I always knew you have to leave. This guy doesn't love you at all. He doesn't even respect you. When I say he doesn't, like, this guy doesn't have a single ounce of respect for me. Never has. And I wish that when you're in a situation like that it would just be easier to just leave, no matter how hard it feels and how painful it feels to say goodbye, to just do it for you. I don't know why the fuck that is so hard. And that's what I hope this episode does for some of you who might find yourself in a situation like this today. Trust me when I say this. Just go. Just fucking go. There's no need to talk anything out. There's no need to break up with him. There's no need to hope that he changes. Just leave. I wish I would have done that much earlier, because the amount of time that I wasted on him, the amount of years, I fell in love with him at 18 years old. Yeah, 18 years old. And I want to say I was obsessed with him until I was 23, and then it started fizzling out. And then it got less and less and less and less. But I must say, the trauma, it sits so deeply in you. It's been such a long time, since I've been in love with him. And every time I go back to London, there's this part of me that's still I want to call him. Not because I think that it's going to be fun or that we're going to have good sex. Not at all. I know that we wouldn't have good sex, because our sex died when our passion for each other died. And that's a whole nother conversation. I am convinced of the fact that I thought our sex was so good back then because it was the only time we weren't abusing each other. It was the only time things were somewhat okay between each other. It was the only time he wasn't bullying me or abusing me or making me feel like a piece of shit. So that's why I'm convinced that I thought our sex was so good, when in hindsight, I don't think I've ever even had good sex in my life. But I think that's a whole episode for another day. So what the fuck was I saying? Yeah. Until this day, whenever I visit London, which is quite a lot because it's my second home, there is always a part of me that's I want to call him. And like I said, it's not because I think we would have a good time. I know what would happen if we were to hang out. That's how well I know this guy. That's how long I've known this guy for. I know exactly how this hangout would go. I know how it would make me feel. And so I think it's a mix of comfort. I think it's a mix of, it's just, I know what's going to happen. It gives me a sense of control, because I am in control. Even though the outcome would be somewhat negative, it doesn't change the fact that I'm in control, because I know what I'm inflicting upon myself, right? So there's many moments where I think I should call him, I should text him. And low key, if he didn't have me blocked everywhere, I would have probably texted him the last time I was there. Because I'm also now just at a point in my life where I'm so yearning for intimacy. I haven't been intimate with someone in a very long time, which again, for sure has to do with all the trauma that he caused me. After him, I just got so scared of connecting with people, because it just freaks me out. But then to try to reconnect with him also doesn't do anything. I know that it wouldn't be satisfying or beautiful in any way, because I'm not addicted to him anymore. I'm not in love with him anymore. There's no passion there anymore. It would just be shit. So that's why it's interesting to me that I do have these moments when I'm in London and I'm dude, should I just text him? Which is I'm not trying to judge myself. I don't want to call it ridiculous, but it's low-key ridiculous. And I know where it comes from. Like I said, this place of control and comfort. But it's so wild. And I'm glad that I'm low key. I'm so happy that I released that podcast episode, because that's the reason why he blocked me everywhere, is because of that podcast episode that I released a few months ago. And I think that's good. I think it's really good that he's making himself fully unavailable to me, because I think even though I know he's not good for me and he's not good in bed and he's not a good person and he doesn't respect me, clearly the trauma bond that exists is so deep that even none of those things can stop me from sometimes thinking about just calling him, which is so, it doesn't even make any sense. That doesn't even make any sense, but it's what it is. I'm here to be fully honest and transparent as fuck, because that's literally the whole shtick of my fucking podcast. And I very often feel so robbed. People literally, they chase their dreams at 18. You know what I'm saying? They go out and do what they fucking want to do. As an adult, they follow their passions. And for some reason, the only dream that I was so focused on chasing at 18 was love. Or is that what it was? I mean, I know what him and I had wasn't real love, but did I just get into a shitty situation that got me addicted to a stupid motherfucker? Or was I so obsessed with wanting to be in love that's why? I don't know. I don't get it. I really don't get it. Literally, if I could sit with myself, if my 18-year-old self was sitting in front of me right now, I would just put her in a straitjacket and lock her up in this room here with me and force her to never go back to this man ever again. That's what I would do. But in a gentle way. I would try to put her in a straitjacket in a gentle way. I don't even know if that's I know that things happen for a reason and everything panned out the way that it was meant to. I don't know if forcefully removing me from the situation would have made any difference or would have just made it worse. Obviously I had to get this guy out of my system, but I'm why did it have to take so long? I literally lost so much of my time to him when I could have spent that time learning how to be an amazing artist, making content, singing, dancing, playing the piano, doing this podcast, but ages ago. So that's why I'm just kind of a little bit bitter about it. And I love that I am now taking the time to follow my passions and follow my dreams, but could have also done that at 18. Could have also done that at 18, but instead I was obsessed with a stupid bitch. A stupid fucking bitch. I don't know. And it's funny because even though I always knew it was an abusive relationship, I was convinced that I wanted him in my life forever. There were times where I wanted babies with him, where I wanted us to live in Berlin together. 100% I would have converted to Islam for this dude. Dead ass. I was down bad. I'm telling you, I was down bad. It's hard to remember how down bad I was because it's quite some time ago, but I was down bad. So down bad. I wanted his love and attention so fucking bad. I would have done everything for this man. Literally everything. And I basically did everything for this man. I would have done and did so much just for him to love me, just for him to not bully me, just for him to see me for the person that I am, just for him to love me. Just for him to love me. Just for him to not be a dick for a day. And that's also something that these abusers are so good at. It's as a victim, you always make yourself so incredibly small because you don't want to push their buttons, or like you're constantly walking on eggshells around them, right? Constantly, because you want to like not trigger them, not push them over the edge. Just hope that, today is a good day and he's going to be in a good mood and everything's going to be fine. But then they constantly push your buttons because they know they have the power. So they play around with it. They know that you're purposefully walking on eggshells to not piss them off. They know that you're holding yourself back and making yourself small. So they start playing around with this. And so they constantly start pushing your buttons. And then when you get pushed over the edge, suddenly they point the finger at you and blame you for everything and gaslight the living shit out of you. Like, the amount of times that happened is endless. And then I was always pushed in a corner and I was made out to be the crazy one, the too sensitive one, the angry one, the reason why this is also fucked up, when in reality, he is the one that is absolutely fucked in the head and needs to go to a literal psych ward. Like, I'm so fucking dead ass when I say this. Dead ass. And I just find it so insane that I let somebody do that to me for so long. And it's so mean. It's so mean. Imagine being with someone where you can literally tell they worship the ground you walk on. They treat you like you're a fucking god. They love you so much. They pour everything into you. And for you to like spit on them every single day. How is that even real? Like, how are people like that real? How do people like this even exist? How is it possible that he treated me this way? How is it possible that he hated me so much? That he never respected me, never loved me? How is it possible to feel like it's okay to treat people this way? What makes you think it's okay to be a bully and abusive and a ticking time bomb at all times? Like, how do you live with yourself? How do you wake up in the morning and actually think that you're a good person? It's beyond me. Beyond me. I don't get it. I really don't get it. And I think I want everyone else to know that is in a situation like this currently. Take it from me. I went through it for very, very long. I didn't want to leave it for the longest time. And I know I'm going to release songs about this topic probably for the rest of my life. I mean, I've never released a song of mine, but I will very soon, actually, this coming autumn, which I'm really excited about. But I'm going to work through so many of these emotions in my music because a lot of it is so hard to sometimes just put into a conversation. And I just want everyone to know that abuse never gets better. These people are not capable of change. No matter how much you feel like they are going to improve, they will not. I promise you, they will not change. They will not be better people. They will not magically wake up and suddenly stop hitting you in the face. It won't happen. The longer you wait for him to change, the more years of your life you are losing. I know that it feels like you cannot live without this person right now, and I know that it feels like you need them to breathe. But trust me when I say this, just rip the band-aid off and bounce and go through the hardest part of it all, which is the withdrawal. But once you've gone through the withdrawal, your future you is thanking you so much. It's the one regret I have in life is that I didn't just leave. And I don't mean physically leave, because he left a bunch of times. He closed the door a bunch of times. Majority of the times I opened the door back up again. But I don't mean physically leave, because physically we were gone from each other quite a bit, but I also just mean emotionally and mentally. I was addicted to this man for so long, and I wish I would have put more effort into healing from that addiction so I could have my life back. And I don't know if it's just a reflection of like who I am as a person. Like I'm a sensitive gal, and I feel very strongly, and I'm also obviously struggle with self-worth and confidence. And so I'm like the perfect candidate for like an abuser for sure. I don't think there's like a magic recipe to get you out of a situation like that, to get you mentally and emotionally away from a situation like that. But all I urge you to do is to take those first steps and to at least try. Don't stick around. Don't hope for more. Don't hope for better days. They are not coming. They will come once you get the fuck out of there. Like dead ass. And your heart will trick you. 100%. Your heart's going to trick you. Don't listen. This is, I think, the best advice. Don't listen to your heart in this situation. Listen to what you know your gut feeling and your head is telling you. Your head's telling you, get the fuck out. Listen to your head. Get the fuck out. Absolutely, get the fuck out. And low key, and life after abuse, life after this person that you think you need to be alive, it exists, and it's great on this side. It feels amazing to not be obsessed with someone anymore. It feels amazing to not be addicted to someone anymore. It feels so freeing to wake up in the morning and not have a panic attack because of him texting you something or him not texting you at all, or like, bro, the amount of shit, the amount of stress I put my body through because of this stupid relationship, the things I would wake up worrying about when we were living together. Every day I was worried, oh, what kind of version of him am I getting today? Is he going to be pissed off? Is he going to be nice? Is he going to be like cute? Is he going to be aggressive? And when we weren't living together, same shit though. I would wake up. Sometimes he wouldn't message me for 5 days straight to punish me because there was something that pissed him off. The amount of times I thought that this guy had died or been arrested by the cops or whatever, but in reality, he was just ignoring me. Like, imagine putting someone through that. Imagine knowing someone's worried about your literal life and you don't even take 2 seconds to let them know you're okay. You just continue ignoring them. That is just so wild to me. It feels amazing being able to wake up and worry about me and my future and my life and my family and my friends, and not worry about some dumb motherfucker that is just stressing me the fuck out. Like, it's such a liberating experience to not be in love with an abusive cunt anymore. And I think with that, we're going to end this episode. I love you guys so much. Keep messaging me everywhere. Keep commenting. Give me topic ideas that you want to hear me talk about. And I'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.